Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, Supercoach Pro. I just thought I'll do a quick update on my trades. I have bevoed you guys, not on purpose, but we had some late news in the mail on the Twitter inbox that was surfaced that Garcia last night wasn't going to be named sub. So I have jumped on board, reversed my trades, and done something a little bit different. And then on the news of Darcy and Lobb playing in the same side, and Darcy scoring so poorly, it actually made me a little bit concerned about rookie forwards. So I didn't want to go early on Biggie and go for two rookies not on the bubble. Although Garcia, not named sub, I thought he'd do all right, and he did okay. In a 60-point thumping, you'll take a 69 from Garcia. Did a lot of turnovers and silly mistakes, but he'll learn from that, and hopefully he's not sub. And Zach Jones probably always uses his spot for Dow or someone like that in the next week or so. So for me, Garcia has a bit of play. Worst case scenario, he's a loop. I've already got enough cash gen to take punts early on some of these guys, so I'm not too concerned. So now I'll show you my trades. I have brought back in Combin because I have been iffy about going early on Biggie, and I think I do have a valid reason for. Obviously, the play was to get rid of Garcia. Now, if you held him, if you held Sanders knowing he was a sub, you're probably holding him now for a month or so to reboot that cash gen. And the same with McKercher. You're probably trading them both out. But then there's a lot of rookie carnage with Carroll, etc. And I just get the feeling that Carroll and Clark will both be named sub again. So you're kind of stuffed into sort of making a boost if you don't want to lose cash gen. But if you're going to hold them, you're going to hold them for a month. So yeah, the plan is for me, I'm just culling them as soon as they start losing their break even. I'm out of it. I don't care. I'm not going to hold rookies for a month and get attached to these picks because other people are. I'm just going off gut instinct and going to sell high and buy low. And even if I'm going early, I'm just going to upgrade the team as fast as I can, basically. So we've gone early on culling Dempsey, which probably doesn't make a lot of sense because you can already see there mathematically only make like 60 odd K. But I feel like Combin with his fixture coming up, he's got an all right run, and I feel like a negative 75 break even would be dumb to pass up on. We saw people go on like a huge negative break even on Berry, who's a small forward, which made no sense to me. I'm willing to take a punt on the guy 100K more in a better position, better job security, and has better VFL stats than Berry. So that's what I'm going to do there. And then I'm going for Young in the back line, bringing him back in. He's done 3 tons in a row. I think he's cleaned up his ball use, of course, and I just think he'll be top 6 defender. And they're the trade-ins and trade-outs. And also the other reason I'm not going Biggie is because of Riley Garcia, the other Garcia, the non-Saint one. So this is scores, and this is what I generally type in, their name and their VFL stats, and you can look. He absolutely has dominated for the last few years. He's been on the doggies list for a few years now. He's played like 19 games, I'm pretty sure. Got some decent scores in there, 96s, 85s, 109s. But look at the last 3 games of this year in the VFL. He's got 163, 128, and 122. And he's not super coach. This is fantasy scoring. But 41 disposals, 31, 36. So for me, like when I'm looking at my team and I'm looking at structure, I look 2 weeks ahead. I don't really plan out too much more than that. I know there's other super coaches that have like a 3 or 4 week plan and sometimes an 8, but there's too many variables for me to do that. And then my numbers in my head start going crazy. So this is what concerned me. Darcy scores a 49. So I'm like, all right, I need a better forward rookie at some point because I'm going to cull Darcy, Cadman, Karmas at some point. So by bringing in Garcia, I can drop him forward, who I think is not a bad scoring rookie. Wilson's turned it around a little bit, and I can obviously move Flanders. So those 3 players can actually move Cadman, Karmas, and Darcy in the next few weeks. And that's why I actually structurally picked Garcia, because I think he's okay. In terms of scoring and job security seems to be on the way up because Zach Jones got subbed out. And then on the flip side to that too is we've got a downgrade now in Garcia from the Dogs, and I'm happy to go early on him if he's not named sub next week. Now, his game next week, what is it? Is it if it's an early game, we might be all right. Oh no, it's almost the last game. It's a Saturday night game. But surely he's not named sub. So if you look at the current scores, go into it. because there's a few different things I want to talk about in last night's game in terms of scoring. You could probably jump on Dale if you don't think he's a sub risk. Now I know everyone's bevoed out at this point and paranoid, but that could be the Tex Walker play of a couple seasons ago. He had that huge score, and that was in his system. He made like 100 and something K, and if he jumped off at the right time, he did really well. And some people just held on to him for the year, but that could be the play. McRae, I want to see one more game with Weber back in the side, so I'm not going to take too much of that. English, I had a feeling would have a bounce back game, so I was never hot on, all this backlash of English scoring bad because Essendon Ruckman always kill opposition Ruckman, so it was fine for me. And then, Jack Steele 84, that's pretty annoying, but you get thumped. What do you expect? Pity if you bought him in this weekend, but Garcia 82 for a 125k forward rookie. So when I'm looking at my side, I want to keep a spot open there for him over Biggie. Just because I feel like that Biggie game, he might score all right, but if you look at his VFL stats, I feel like he's just in there for Dawson. And I don't feel like they'll play all of them in the back line. This doesn't say like it's a call-up selection. Like, round 1 and 2, 41 and 64. Doesn't scream out, I've been picked because of my form. It screams out, I've been picked because there's an injury down back. Whereas you look at Charlie's stats, and this screams more like I've been picked because I'm a decent player. Like 16 disposals, 7 marks, 22 disposals, 13 marks, as opposed to 13 disposals, 4 marks, 17, 6. I mean, there's not a huge amount of difference. But in fantasy numbers too, I just think he's the taller guy. He can play a little bit more key position, which can hurt his scoring ability potentially. But I just think he's a better player. Like, Biggie's never been the guy to score well in VFL, let alone in Richmond's best 22 over the last few years. Even on our downward years, like, he never really got games, and we haven't been good since 2020. So I don't believe in the pick. I don't believe in the hype. I'm willing to skip on Biggie. He doesn't got a huge frame on him either. Like, he's been around the system for a few years now, but I just feel like he gets dropped for Dawson and you might get 2 games out of him. Maybe he makes you 80, 100K, but I just feel like he could almost be a Toby Pink vibe for me. And it's the reason why I didn't grab Pink or Draper, because I just felt worried about their scoring ability long term and how much cash they make, etc. So for me, I'm passing on Biggie. I think I'm pretty hot on that. So Biggie, see you later. Comden, I've been on this train, like the Meek train. I know I don't like cheese, and Jonas Goat is a fan of Comden as well. I just feel like it'd be a kick in the head for me to talk up a player again, like I did with Meek, but Meek I followed through with, and then talk about Charlie, talk him up, and then not pick him. So I had to restructure my trades for that reason. I thought, I don't want to be on the end of this where he makes 120K in 2 weeks, and then I'm like, yeah, told you, but I couldn't do it. But now I found a way to do it. We're still getting a primo in, and I'm willing to cut Rao for it. Not sure if that's the long-term play, but Rao's got Sydney this week. Young's got West Coast this week, so I'm just playing the numbers here and hoping Young, continues his tons. So that's it for him. Look, not too much else I really want to talk about. I mean, Buku, you're probably going to trade him if the 3% are watching him. Gallagher's probably one you probably trade soon. Darcy, I reckon's only got a couple of weeks in him if Wobb's playing. But if we see Wobb get dropped for Jamara, then we're all fine, I think, for cash gen. But I am concerned. I don't think Darcy will get ruck DPP either. I don't think. Don't quote me on that. And then, look, there's no point getting disappointed in St Kilda scores too much because no one scored well bar Hill. Is Hill an option now? I'm not too sure. I mean, he's a bit of a smoky. A few people looked into him, but the play next week is to grab Hugo Garcia if he's named again, and I think he will be. So going early is okay sometimes, but sometimes it's going to catch you, and I feel like it could be Biggie that gets that. So get out of that. Garcia, the profile on Garcia looks good too, like strengths, accumulation, which is what we want from Supercoach picks, clearance ability, inside work, quick thinker, good skills, strong character. So they're good skills to have in a footy player. So match fitness, I mean, we could probably look at his TOG, but I feel like his TOG was fine. And his size, it's fine. I mean, they always question size when you're 18 years old and 70 kilos. I'm sure he's not 70 kilos now. So that's decided going into the round. And then there's a few players on the horizon, like Rogers from Gold Gold Coast has been named to play this weekend. So there's a few other rookies I like the look of coming up, debuting, other than these Ewans and players like that. McAuliffe is another guy you could go early on. I mean, if I want to next week, I could go him because he's that Wednesday night game. So you'll know if he's sub pretty quickly. And then, yeah, VC last night all failed. If you took Bonds VC, I would recommend you just take the punt on that and keep it because I don't think it'll be a high scoring week this week compared to the last. And then, yeah, Marshall owners like myself, pretty disappointed. We should have definitely started Gawn and banked the cash. And that's my biggest regret so far of the season. As far as whoops are concerned, I've whooped Williams. If Williams scores decently, I'll take Graham off the field. And Sharp, I'm not really going to bother about whooping. I mean, he plays West Coast, so maybe I play him over Roberts. I'm not really sure because Sharp can get a 60, but Roberts is a safe 80. But then I suppose you're going for ceiling points. So I don't know. Maybe you take the punt on Sharp, but I've already got a couple bad rookie scores in there, so I'd rather not get another 50. So I think I'll just leave Roberts in the midfield. And the other reason why I wanted to grab Young in is these two obviously closely will be a midfield DPP. So it means I'll have two options in the back and defence swing, Dacos and Roberts. So I can play both two players going back and forth from midfield to defence. And the forward line too, like Powell will be a midfielder, Heaney will be a midfielder. So it opens up options for Wilson and Garcia and Flanders as well to swap around in my team. I've got a lot more flexibility in what I do with the team each week. And then Comden and Karmas. I don't think Karmas will be in my side long enough to use that swing, but Comden potentially could be swung down back once Massimo and Williams banks out cash. I could swing him there for the meantime if I don't like any downgrades in the back line, which is my concern. And that's why I think I'm going Comden as well, is I don't see any good rookies on the defense coming through. So, like, what are we going to do with our side structurally is a big concern for me. We got a lot of midfielders and forwards coming through, but nothing else. So, yeah, I mean, you can go Biggie, but his DPP won't go until in round 12, and you probably cashed him out by then. So that is the side going into it. Yeah, and I just want to go through my trades, and that was the biggest reason. I feel like I Chris Scotted you guys a little bit on and off of my trades, but I only last minute trade because there'll be different team sheets or different players just think it up on the Thursday or Friday. So I play as I go. I'm never really set into my trades until probably Friday morning or even Saturday morning. So I do apologize if you do see some moves I've backed out of and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure this is a lock. I'm 95% sure this is a lock in my side. And yeah, thanks for everyone watching the streams. I haven't been posting my streams online because some of them can be a bit saucy with some of the conversations, and they're pretty funny. I just don't want to get canned for them because they go all over the shop, and sometimes they delve out of Supercoach and go more to AFL talk. So the Sunday stream is the only one I'll probably post on my channel. So I'll be doing Sunday streams. You talk about your rage trades, how your team scored for the week. I'll probably do them around 6:30, 7 o'clock on a Sunday evening when the teams have come through your score and you're just sort of waiting for the app to load your rankings and rage trade, etc. So I'll leave the video there. Just wanted to give an update, give you guys what I thought of my side going into the round properly, and I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and thanks for all the new subs who have jumped on board recently too. There's some really good chats with a few of you that are regulars now, and yeah, I get a lot of support and love. So for a small channel, we're going all right. So thank you. Appreciate it. If you got any comments, put them in below. I'll respond when I can. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully your team gets up. Go the Tigers because the bye will probably beat us.